What's up guys, welcome to a new series on my channel which is going to be going through the FIFA 07 national teams and the players in the starting 11 of those national teams. Obviously I'm going to start off with England and you can see the first player on screen, but before I get started please do suggest below in the comments some new names for my channel, because my old name, the Juggernuke, I didn't really like it. It was quite amateur and I didn't really like it, so I would like a new name, unique name, so please do suggest that below. That would be greatly appreciated. But anyway, let's get into the first player, which is going to be the goalie. It's going to be Paul Robinson, who was England's #1 goalie in 2007 and for quite a while actually. Currently plays for Blackburn, which is the team that I support, and he's been doing really well since coming back from an operation on a blood clot in his lung, and he hasn't been doing as well as he did at Tottenham, obviously, back in 2007, but he's been doing pretty well. But back then, he was England's #1, as I've already said, and he was playing really well, one of the best in the world, and had an 86 rating in FIFA 07, and had 87 diving, 84 reflexes, 83 handling, 88 positioning, and the 84 kicking, it was based on his long passing in game, which I believe was 84, and his speed was based on his sprint speed and his acceleration, which was around 58 in game. It was kind of a guess from my part by using their in-game stats to produce the on-card stats, because there wasn't actually any Ultimate Team in FIFA 07. But this is going to be the first card, and I'll go through the defenders, midfielders, and the strikers after this. So the next player is going to be Ashley Cole. He played for Arsenal in 2007. He was only 25 years old, or I say only, that's quite old considering that he was 83 rated then, and now he is 85 rated, so he's actually higher rated in FIFA 14. But he had 88 pace and 87 defense, as well as 78 passing, 76 dribbling, and 73 heading, as well as 49 shooting, which isn't the best. I actually noticed some of the stats on this card are lower than the stats on his card currently. That's mainly due to some of the in-game stats being missed out. For instance, jumping is missed out, so I have to go on his heading stat, which was 73, and I couldn't actually go by his jumping stat, which I think would have been higher if there had been one back then. But anyhow, his card was really good, was really pacey, good defense. Apart from that, his shooting was really bad, and his shooting on his FIFA 14 card is much better. But he looked like an overall really solid card, and I would definitely like to use him if I did have the chance, if he was in FIFA 14 Ultimate Team. So the first centre back is going to be John Terry, who played for Chelsea as he does now in 2007. He was their main defender and England's main defender in my opinion and in most people's opinions, and he was much better back then than he was now. He's much slower now. And he's just getting old. But anyway, back then he was 91 rated with 79 pace, 94 defense, and 93 heading. Some really amazing stats there, other than his passing, shooting, and dribbling, which aren't as good, I've noticed, on the defenders in FIFA 07 than in FIFA 14. But a really solid card there, and definitely deserves it because of how well he played for England back then. So the next centre-back is going to be Rio Ferdinand. Now this surprised me because I thought he was almost on par with John Terry back then, but he's actually 88 rated in FIFA 07, and John Terry was 91, as I've already said and as you've already seen. But Rio Ferdinand actually had 84 pace, which is absolutely outstanding for a centre-back, 91 defence and 90 heading. Some really good stats there. He had higher passing and shooting and dribbling than John Terry, although I think they're lower than his current card in FIFA 14, which is a bit strange. But as I've said previously, the dribbling, shooting and passing stats are generally lower on FIFA 07 players than in FIFA 14. So the right back was Gary Neville, who played for Man U. Now he was 81 rated, which is 4 lower than his legend card in FIFA 14, but that's understandable because he wasn't at his best in 2007. He was getting quite old then, but he was 81 rated. He had 80 pace, 88 defense, and 85 heading, and all of his other stats, they're not that good, to be honest, for a right back. 64 dribbling and 67 passing, as well as 51 shooting on a right back, isn't that good, to be honest, and it's actually much lower than his legend card, I believe. But anyway, yeah, they look more like centre back stats, to be honest, but he still looked like a really solid card, and if I did have the chance, I would use him if he was in FIFA 14. So the left mid is going to be Joe Cole. I'm going left to right, by the way, and the left mid's Joe Cole. Now he was 87 rated, and he had 85 pace, 90 dribbling, 78 shooting, and 85 passing, as well as 61 defence, which isn't too bad for a left mid at all, and 49 heading, which isn't very good at all. But anyway, he looked like a really solid card. He was one of England's main. Players, and definitely deserved that 87 card. I would have thought he would have had slightly higher, maybe 88 or 89, but 87 was really good, and he definitely deserved that, and he probably deserved more than 85 pace as well, but that was what EA gave him in FIFA 07. So the next player is going to be Frank Lampard. Now this one really surprised me because he actually has 83 pace. I didn't think he was ever that fast in his career, but 83 pace is absolutely amazing, as well as 86 dribbling, 90 shooting, 90 passing, 86 defence, and 62 heading, which is much lower than his FIFA 14 card, which surprised me as well. But that's probably due to his jumping not being an in-game stat. But he looks like a really solid card. Obviously England's main player, or one of England's main players back then, and he had a really solid card, and looks like if that card was in FIFA 14 Ultimate Team, it would probably go for over 1 million because how all-rounded his stats are apart from his heading. So the next player you would have expected to have been Beckham, but he was actually left on the bench according to the database, even though I thought he started every game for England back then. But anyway, it's Owen Hargreaves, who played for Bayern Munich. He actually moved to Man U the year after, or half a year after this card was released. But he had 86 pace, 73 shooting, 81 passing, 85 defence, 70 heading, and 77 dribbling. So a really solid all-round card there. Only 81 rated though, which is the lowest out of every single player in this team apart from Gary Neville, but still a really solid card there, and good pace, defence and passing would make him a really good card if he was in FIFA 14. So the right mid was Steven Gerrard, who actually played right mid back then, not centre mid, but he was 88 rated with 88 pace, 85 dribbling, 92 shooting, 90 passing, 83 defence and 80 heading. If he was a centre mid, those stats all round, all over 80, they're absolutely insane. But it looks really weird because his picture, he looks quite old in his picture, and 88 pace doesn't really suit his picture. And I never thought he was actually that fast in my opinion, but EA obviously rated him that fast in 2007, and he probably deserved it, and he was 88 rated, which is 2 lower than Lampard. So Lampard was a much more important player to England than Gerrard, but Gerrard was still an important player because of his 88 rating. So I've left the highest rated striker till last. You can probably guess who it is, but the first one's going to be Michael Owen. He was 86 rated, and as you can see, has his Legends shirt on, because I did use the same picture as on his Legend card. But he played for Newcastle, and he had 90 pace. I thought it would be higher because he was really fast in his prime, which was around then. He had 82 dribbling, 89 shooting, 79 heading, 73 passing, and 41 defence. It's quite surprising that actually all of these stats are higher, or most of them are higher than his Legend card. I think EA underrated his Legend card massively. I think he deserved more heading and pace and dribbling and basically every stat. But this card looks really good, and one of the lower rated cards of the England team, but still looks really solid. And I would definitely have the chance. I would definitely love to have the chance to use him, as I've said for the previous players, if he was in FIFA 14 Ultimate Team. So as you can see, the final player is going to be Wayne Rooney, and now he was the highest rated player for England, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he was one of the highest or the highest players in FIFA 07. Comparing to Ronaldinho, who was 91 rated, and you will see who was considered the better player back then. But Rooney had 91 pace, 90 dribbling, 94 shooting, and 80 passing, and his heading and defence were much lower than they are now in FIFA 14, which is mainly due to him adopting more of a centre attacking mid or centre forward role in recent years. And currently, he isn't considered as the player he was back then. Back then, he was considered one of the best, if not the best, in the world, and now he's considered as a great or a good player for England, but not as good as he was back then. But if you enjoyed this episode, please do leave a like below and suggest some new national teams for me to do in the next episode. And I could also do other teams like Chelsea or Man U, I guess, as well. And also don't forget to suggest some new names for my YouTube channel. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.